They just changed immediately when they mentioned demons to me. And that made it real. This thing that had a name now has agency in my mind. It has, I could tell you what its voice sounded like, and it didn't sound like anything out of some demonic movie or something like that. It didn't sound like no monster at all. But
what did it sound like?
It just sounded like, pick a random deep voice from a dude. That's all it said. It was calm.
Welcome to Creepalachia. We are talking tattoos today, baby. And who better to do that with than a professional, Kelcey Wolfe. Thank you for joining us in the studio today, sir.
Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. So I put out an all call just to talk to people who give people art for a living, and you're one of them that reached out. And we're gonna have some music too. We're gonna do some music, and also we're gonna tell some really meaningful stories about your life. So I guess first, tell me about you and where you grew up.
Man, I am from as far back in the hills in Preston County as you get. I'm from a little place called Bull Run, West Virginia, just outside of Masontown. It's back in the sticks, but it's right outside of Morgantown, which I've tattooed all over that town as well. But I got my start in Kingwood, West Virginia. It's right there in Preston County.
Okay, in Preston County. Correct. Where at north exactly is Preston County? I know I've been there. Is it kind of the top square piece of West Virginia? Okay.
Yeah, it's the only one with straight borders, man. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, right on the Pennsylvania border too?
In Maryland, yeah.
Okay, in Maryland. Yep. Well, how cool, man. How did you end up down south?
It's a cool story, man. So I was had went north tattooing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I was in Kingwood, got my start, and then went to Brothers Tattoo up Marshall County, West Virginia, and then come back home, right around home anyway, to tattoo around Morgantown area, and tattooed in some of the best shops in the Morgantown area. And then I fell really hard around 2015 or so. That was when drugs hit real hard for me anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went from tattooing in, like I said, some of the best shops around, to fast forward 3 years, and I'm walking past one of those shops to where I was the star artist in and all that stuff, and had pulled up my hood walking by this place so no one would recognize me because I was homeless on the streets.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then, so up in Preston County, I found a buddy that would let me stay with him. And it was pretty bad.
What year was that?
This was 2020.
2020.
Yeah. So I'm homeless. I'm living in the back of a trap house. It's terrible. And then I got this call out of nowhere. And because, if you're on drugs, you don't got nothing, but you got a cell phone. And that's how that call come through. And I got this call from a shop in Charleston. It's Piercer. And she said, 4 artists are leaving the shop that we, or that's their whole crew.
Mm-hmm.
And we want to come and get you. Because they had seen my work prior to my big fall. And, but she came and got me that night from Charleston. Came to Preston County, drove 3.5 hours to get me.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was not a reputable artist at the time. So on her way up there, I'm packing up my stuff and I'm getting ready to change my life and everything's going to go good again. And, it should have been a sign when she pulled in a hearse. Yeah, it was a tricked out hearse and everything, but it was meant to be cool. But it should have been a sign to me because at that shop I fell really hard. She turned out to be a user as well, and so that was really bad time. I went into we'll get into all that, but I went into what they call psychosis, but I went into, it was awful. It was terribly awful. Sure. But in that awful state, I meet this couple comes in and they just want tattoos. It seems random at the time. What I know now is nothing's random. But so this person comes in and she sees me in the back. I'm talking about Amber Hammond, the one who eventually we started a shop together. But
shout out Amber for this hat. Thank you so much. Amber makes clothing. Sorry to interrupt you. I wanted to make sure I got that in there, but yeah. So you meet Amber, and it sounds like an angel.
Yeah, she is. She is definitely in my life. Yes, sir. But I'm in the back of this tattoo shop. They have put me back here away from the main traffic because I was in such a sad state, man. But I could still tattoo. Tattooed every day, tattooed nonstop. But she sees me back in there. She doesn't get tattooed by me. Neither one of them do. Her and her husband, Brian. Actually, she saw me back in there and said, I want to get tattooed by that guy next time. And Brian, he just like, he doesn't even want to deal with me. He could see the type of person I was at the time.
Right.
But so they come back in the next time and I do it just seems like a routine tattoo appointment. And they go, didn't think too much about it. Then she comes back the next time and we end up tattooing until probably close to 2 a.m. In that state that I was in, I don't remember a whole lot of the conversation. I was a huge user and everything from that area in my life is kind of foggy. But I'm telling her, I haven't told the truth to anybody about anything in my life at that point. I was making stuff up just to entertain clients and everything pretty much out of my mouth was either embellished upon or a totally fabricated story.
Sure.
And I start telling this lady the truth, which at that point in time to me was crazy. And I start telling her about like, I'm hearing voices. I'm hearing people talking to me. I'm hearing people talking about me. And if I was her in that tattoo chair, I would have said, okay, thank you. I'm leaving.
See you later.
Yep, I'm going. If that was me.
Sure.
This lady sits there and talks to me all night. Here she'd had experience working with the mentally ill and all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
And which I'm pretty sure that's how the conversation got started, is she had said something, because, you know, you're asking them, so where are you from? What do you do? All that stuff. And I'm sure that was the catalyst of, oh, so you've got experience working with mentally ill people. Let me tell you about this crazy stuff.
Right.
And, but I needed it, man. I needed it at the time. I needed somebody like that. And God put her right there. And I end up telling her the truth about everything. She says I told her the truth about drugs. I don't remember that because that was a secret that I protected. I swore I never did, but it was written all over my face. And then they dropped me off that night. And they've told me since that they thought about coming back to get me because they could see I needed some help. But I got sober 30 days after that meeting, probably. And I'm up in Morgantown and I'm going to watch my new baby being born because me and the girl, my fiance now, she had gotten pregnant. And while I was still heavy user. And I would love to say I got sober for my child, but it took God to do that, I think. But so this lady calls me and she says, hey, I saw you had a baby. I posted on Facebook and all that stuff. And she says, that's great and everything. But 2 days after my baby was born, my boss, who I rented a home from as well. So I work at this guy's shop and I rent this guy's house. He says, you're done here. 2 days after my new baby's born.
Oh, no.
Oh, God. It's terrible. It's awful. Worst thing that could happen.
What was the reason?
Because I was a handful.
Gotcha.
I was awful. Man.
Gotcha.
I don't blame him at all. I blame him at the time. I completely blamed him at the time because at the time it was the worst thing in the world that could have happened. But that's how we think when something like that's happening. And I truly believe nowadays that like things are working in the background that you don't know, that we don't know. And really, it was the greatest thing in the world that could have happened. And I wish the man no ill will. He did exactly what any business owner would have. He got me clear away from his business because I was bad for it at the time. Probably.
Right.
I did a lot of work, but like I said, I was a handful.
How are you a handful? I mean, you just seem such a teddy bear now.
Now, yeah. I'm a lot better off than what I was, man. I'm a lot better off than what I was. I feel cured and delivered. That's what I say now. We'll get into that hopefully.
Sure, yeah, man.
But yeah, so I was awful, and but I'm on my way of getting better, and I'm in Morgantown, West Virginia, and I saw my baby be born, and I'm thinking, thank you, God, and I'm going to take care of this little guy and this girl, and everything's going to be all right. And then he sends me a message, says, you're done here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it was devastating. And, but Amber Hammond calls because he's a friend now at this point.
Right.
And, she says, hey, I saw you had a baby. So that's great and everything. And I said, yeah, but listen to this other crazy crap. And I'm panicked out. And she's just it'll be okay. She's just writing me messages and tolerating my falling into despair and all this other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
2 weeks go by of me walking the streets in Morgantown thinking of what am I going to do? And I'm homeless again, which is terrible because I've been there. I've been homeless at this point. And I know where this ends. Like if you can't find a job, you're going to lose this chance to raise this baby right and be a good dad and all this other stuff. And then, but at this point, I've had a lot of recovery go on without rehab and all that stuff. The voices have went away and all that stuff.
Right.
And, then I wake up one morning in the Ronald McDonald House, because when you have a son in the NICU, they let you stay at the Ronald McDonald House if you have a out of town address.
Oh yeah, that's such a blessing. My brother had to do that for 3 months.
It is a blessing, man. Yep. You get some stability, which I needed at the time, and it's a nice place to stay, but you have to take care of yourself there too. So I was cleaning up the room, and on that note, like so my voices have went away, and I wake up this one morning in particular, and I hear a voice like me and you talking in a room. And I haven't heard these voices in 40 days sober. I was 40 days sober when this happened. And I wake up, and immediately when I open my eyes, I hear, clean this room up, pack your things. I'm sending you on a ride that will change your life. Just as plain as day. And I did it. The whole time thinking, are you familiar with Chestnut Ridge?
I have not heard.
That is a mental facility.
Okay.
And I'm thinking I might as well go check myself in because I'm in permanent psychosis or whatever. I'm just thinking you're doing something that a voice told you to do, because I'm packing up with nowhere to go.
Right.
Why am I packing my stuff? So I'm done. Floor's shiny. My bags are all packed, and I go outside because no vaping in the facility there. So I go outside. I get 2 phone calls. I get my dad, who lives up in Preston County still, and he says, you want to come up and see your mom? And the first thing I thought was, okay, but it sounded like he knew I was leaving. It's just the vibe of how he said it, And then I say, okay. And then I get, immediately when I hung up the phone, Amber Hammond calls. She says, how's your head? I said, I think and I'm still panicked out, same mood for 2 weeks there at that place. And she says, I think me and Brian have talked, and we think that you should come down to Beckley, West Virginia, just for the weekend. Immediately my mind goes, what? I can't do that. I've got a baby in a NICU. My girl, man, has put up with me just disappearing, being a crazy person. How a drug addict is. You just disappear, you'll go. And I just going through my mind, wheels are turning. I can't do this to her. La, 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 la. And what comes out of my face is, okay. I thought, no, what did I just say?
Right.
And she says to me, Amber Hammond, she says, good, because we're on our way to get you. In that 3-hour drive, I had enough time to go see my mama and then to go back down the Ronald McDonald House with my dad and meet Amber and Brian Hammond. And I go down to Beckley. I didn't call my fiance until I was on my way. And this girl, God love her. When I told her I was going down on New Year's Eve that year, which has been 3 years ago now, but I told her on the way that I'm leaving town. I'm leaving her, my baby. And it sounds crazy to say to somebody, look, God's got a plan here. It sounds crazy to leave everything like that and leaving a person who's counting on me. It sounds crazy, but this girl says, okay. And so I go down for the weekend. A weekend turned into, I think it was 2 weeks of just being with these people and being with normal people, being with good people, man, Southern West Virginia folks. And I'm around their kids. I tell everybody, I see the kindness of God in these people because they invited the ex-meth head in with their children. And that just, that caught me that whole time. It was a conscious thought the whole time I was with these people. And like 2 weeks turned into, we think you should just stay here. And then I say, oh, well, same thing. All these thoughts are, I can't do that. And then, so we start going to church together. And we're together all the time. I'm doing everything with these people. And I say these people now, they're family now.
Sure, yeah.
At the time, that was these
pure empathy happening. I love it.
It was a beautiful thing, man. It really was. So beautiful. And it just, there's no words for it. But then we're coming out of church. I think it was 2 months maybe. And it was Amber again. She looks back and now they've done some talking. I'm unbeknownst to, and then she turns to me and I'm in the back of their Escalade and she says, why don't we just start you a tattoo shop? Because I'd been looking around Beckley area trying to find a shop where I might fit in at, and it just didn't seem to work. I was going to go back to tree trimming. I was a tree trimmer back in the day.
Okay, yeah.
I was looking into that. And so there again comes into my mind, do you know how much work that's going to be? How much money needs to be invested? How much time? Blah, 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 blah. And what comes out of my face again is, okay. And so it
seems to be working.
Yeah, it seems to be working. So I just go with it. And 2 months later, we open up Wolf Song Inc. And I've been here ever since, man. And it's been the best move in the world. That's how I ended up down south.
Well, dude, I tell you, your business is booming. I hear so many reviews of your work, and I had so many people send me your name when I put out I saw that post. And this is my kind of story because it sounds like, you probably had low self-esteem. It's like, oh, she's just some meth head. But Amber saw the real person, and the real person is within all addicts. Now, of course, some people are worse than others, and this and that, and yada yada yada. But I truly believe majority of addicts are functional, good human beings, and they just need that one break, And it may take 10 times.
Yeah.
And it sounds like it took a few times, but
it took me a long time. Yeah. But she was the one. She saw her and my fiance, like, your parents always see that person. Your parents got it ingrained in that, in their minds. They've seen you since they know that you can do better. Yeah. But, my fiance and Amber Hammond and Brian as well, her husband, man, they saw through all the buildup over. You're right. Like inside every addict, man, they're just encased in a bunch of whatever the world's done to them.
Yeah. Yeah. They, it's like you're not your true self to me.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all.
What's the bounds of this conversation? Because I have several questions about this.
I have no doubt.
Okay, gotcha.
I was wondering the same thing.
No, yeah. So let's talk about addiction first. And, this started out was like, I want to ask someone the process of tattoos, which we're going to get into eventually.
Yeah.
But this is so much more important. So what age were you when addiction started to take hold? I'm just curious what it was that brought you into it.
Man, 19. I was 19. It was April 23rd, my birthday it was 1999. And I went to school to be a cop, right? And, but I was in metal bands and stuff. I was a guitar player in a metal band. And it was a buddy of mine who, it was late at night one night, and we had been drinking. I've drank some beers here and there, and I didn't feel good. It was my birthday, and he says, "Here, man, hit that." Just a bowl of weed, man. That's all it was.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like instinctful. I was so good at doing drugs. So good. Right at first. I hit that thing like I'd been doing it all my life. When I was 19 that night, 3 days later, this sounds harsh and crazy, but 3 days later, I smoked crack cocaine and I loved it.
Goodness.
And yeah, it was, I hate to give into that. Weed's a gateway drug. I don't use it, but I see healthy things go on with people who are just doing that.
Sure.
And they maintain that stuff. But with me personally, if I'm not to be afraid of that, I'm not going to be afraid of nothing. And I was not afraid of a drug after that. And I never have been until I got clean. And now I know what to fear. Now I know that one should fear all of them because you can't control them.
Sure. And every person's different. Like, of course, there could be several gateways to this life, I would imagine, but that's good for people to know because, everybody's different. So
for sure.
Was you just any drug that was available, or was you particularly drawn to crack, or what was your specific life like?
At the time, it was what was available. Like I said, I was in metal bands with always older people, and it just seemed like the first real heavy band I was in was, which is the reason I got into tattooing as well. But these guys, they were older. They seemed to all be getting divorces. It should have been a sign there again as well. But it was just what was around. And it just seemed like with them guys, it was just what was around. Let's do this weekend and that the next and stuff.
Sure.
But then later on, though, when methamphetamine came around, which was way later, that's the one that got me. I loved everything about it. And it helped me quit opiates or opioids. I was 8 years on painkillers and just never seemed to run out of them. I had no idea about addiction. Didn't even think about addiction because they were just, it was Preston County, West Virginia. And in the mid 2000s, it's just what you did. And then I ran out one day, and then the leg shakes and all that stuff. And, never even thought about the word addiction until I ran out. And then a guy from out of town, from California, comes into Preston County, West Virginia. And at the time, I'm tattooing out of my house. And this is after I ruined a great career. I thought I did anyway, in tattooing because of drugs. I was tattooing at, can I say names of shops?
Sure, yeah, go ahead.
Cool. Patty's Art Spot. At the time, the best tattoo shop in Morgantown, bar none. And I'm one of the lead artists. And then I was aware that Patty, the boss, the star artist of Morgantown, everybody knows her name up around there. She's known, East Coast knows her name, but in that town, you don't get no better than her. And she gave me a chance, took me right under her wing, and I was what do you call that? Poised to be great. And if I'd have just stayed there, man, none of the bad stuff would happen if I'd have listened to her. But I quit her place and I was tattooing out of my house, man. And that's not, to anyone out there doing that, don't do that. Go to a shop, get an apprenticeship, do that. Do it the right way. But the guy comes in and, there's secret compartments in biker jackets, like the cafe racer jackets. Well, he brings out this gallon Ziploc size bag of methamphetamine and throws it on a desk and says, man, let's do some tattooing. And that was it for a decade. So I was almost a decade on that stuff every day. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I didn't know no better than to hate it. I loved it just because of what it did to me. It numbs your emotions and numbs all the mistakes that you've made. And then you just look forward. And that's all you do.
Do you stay up long periods of time? Like I've heard that you just don't go to sleep.
I tell everyone I didn't sleep for 25 years.
Wow.
But on that stuff, it's that's a joke, but not really.
Sure.
Yeah, I didn't sleep. I didn't sleep up until the night that I got sober.
Yeah.
But it was just long blinks. That's a speedhead's joke, is we just take long blinks and that's it. And but since getting sober, man, I know how even without chemical help, sleep deprivation is, man, it rips your brain apart.
Oh, no
just
doubt.
Without the chemicals. But you go adding chemicals into that, it's really causing some damage to people. But yeah, I never slept. You're just doing stuff.
Yeah.
Most of the time, nonsensical stuff.
It's weird how I relate to every guest in some way. And you mentioned someone tattooing out of their house. So I got this little dragon looking thing, this little Mortal Kombat looking thing.
I love it.
For a bag of weed in a trailer.
Yeah.
In like Mercer County. I don't even remember where we were.
Yeah.
But and I got it and my grandma was like, oh, is that a shrimp? That's pretty, and I'm like, yeah, grandma. Yeah, it's a shrimp, because it's weird how I think we're officially full circle here. Yeah. So, but on a more serious note, so when you run out, what does that feel like? Like, what is that description of what it feels like to go into withdrawal?
It's awful. It's hell. You are so tired. Your body with methamphetamine, your body, you don't know it at the time, but whenever you decide to leave that stuff alone, not just when you run out, but when you decide to leave it alone, when you make a conscious decision to leave that stuff behind, you're not going to do it no more. Your body says, thank God, because you're running faster than a human body's designed to do. But if you want to do more, if you're not going to quit and you're in active addiction and you're having a ball, you think, and you run out, every tired in the world compares to that tired. You are done with life until you find another fix, until you find another hookup, until you see the plug, until someone comes and rescues you from your awfulness. You're done with life. And it is harsh. I feel for fentanyl users because that's even worse. That's 10 times worse. But with methamphetamine, your body's shutting down. It's a good thing. If you're ready to quit, it's a great thing because you're purging. All them chemicals are slowly going to come out of you.
Sure, yeah.
But if you're not done, it's awful. And then your emotions catch up to you too on the mistakes you made along that way. Of every day is full of whatever. I hate to say tweakers, man, because it sounds like you're making fun of someone. I'm not. But everything a tweaker wants to do, you make mistakes along the way. You're going to hurt people. You're ignoring responsibilities or completely throwing them to the side, all that stuff. But yeah, it feels awful, to answer your question.
Yeah. Well, you'll go past people, and I try not to judge nobody, no matter what, but at the same time, when you walk by someone on the street who's having a psychotic break, it's very scary.
Yeah.
And, you know, it sounds like you were on the lines of crossing that point of like losing control of your mind.
I did.
Yeah.
I did. I completely did. I didn't get into that yet, but yeah, when I was in Charleston and I had rented this house from my boss, you could say that I was a stranger in a strange land, kind of. At first I was tattooing and hanging around people in trap houses in Morgantown and Preston County. I knew them people, you know, we all went down the road together. When I got that call to go to Charleston, I went down there in the middle of a shop that was in upheaval. 4 artists were leaving. The boss wants to keep the place going, obviously, and he hires on me just based on information from Facebook, which
like, that tattoo looks great.
Yeah,
that kind of stuff.
And he looks healthy, and you know,
sure, yeah.
But that's totally not the case. So I'm in there with this group of guys. These guys haven't left yet, and they got it together. You know, they weren't where I was, that's for sure. And I'm trying to hide being a user and all this stuff, which it's impossible to do that. But
what do you mean by, were you like gaunt, or could you tell by your physical looks?
There. Yeah. Oh yeah. Like, which it got to where I looked like Gollum from Lord of the Rings. I said, oh,
really?
It was bad. Yeah. I was,
well, and now you're a healthy looking dude. You're probably what, 190 some, 200 pounds ish.
Some. Yeah.
Yeah, 6
like
foot. Well, how tall
Not
are
quite.
you?
Yeah.
A little shorter.
Yeah, 5'9", 5'8", something like that. But at the time on a 5'9", 5'8", 5'9" frame, 130, 140 looks bad, man.
Right. Well, the beard added a foot.
Yeah.
So that must be what it is. Yeah, the most epic beard. But so yeah, you could tell.
Yeah, you could tell, yeah.
Gotcha.
And so that's where the fabricating comes in. You're lying about who you are.
Mm-hmm.
You're lying about the core of you, if you're trying to lie about that. But and then you're making money. I was living in a trap house, sleeping on dog pee soaked pillow. It was bad. It was really bad. And then I got this job where I'm making money hand over fist, and I work with a dealer, and I get to know every dealer. They all know I'm not a cop. Look at me, you know, that kind of stuff. So everybody trusts the user. He's got money. Sell him stuff. And I knew 6, 7 dealers within the first 2 weeks I worked at that place. It was bad. It was really bad. But I just did that. I networked like that, if you want to call it that. So I'd never run out.
Right.
And I never did. But like I said, stranger in a strange land, it's stressful, man. And trying to put out good work. And there's one artist, her name is Brittany, and she's a godsend as well, because I could learn from her. I could kind of sneak over her shoulder and kind of pick up stuff because they called her an apprentice at the time.
Mm-hmm.
She was a really good tattoo artist. I think some people might have been threatened by how good she was, so they just kind of kept her at an apprentice level. And saying that says, I don't know, it just keeps you at a certain level mentally.
Sure, yeah.
I think that's why they did that to her. But she was an amazing artist, and I could kind of measure my stuff up to, like, this is what the shop expects. I can do this. So in that state of trying to put out stuff that was just good enough, trying to get through every day. So you got drug money. Then I start hearing voices. I thought it was people working with me. It got so bad to where when I was stuck on that thought that I would hear these whispers, and they're talking about me, you know, and you get defensive. And it got so bad one time, there was a client in the chair. This is embarrassing, but it's true.
Oh, yeah.
So I am tattooing this person. I'm hearing these voices, and I finally have had enough of it. And I stand up and I throw my tattoo machine down on my tray, and I say, I can hear all of you expletives talking about me, and you better shut up, and I've had enough, and all that stuff. And they're looking at me like, dude, what's wrong with you? 'Cause they didn't say a word, it's my mind breaking.
I'm picturing like a half-made rose, like it's, and they're just sitting there like, oh my god.
Yeah, a client looking up at me like, what in the world is this?
I'm
guy's
sorry to
wrong?
laugh, but
Oh no, it's funny now.
Right.
It's funny to me now. At the time, I had to be consoled in the back room and said, man, listen, nobody's talking about you, and you just got to go out there and finish this tattoo. If that was at my shop, man, now I'd have just said, go on. I'd have been nice about it, but you just can't be here like that. And, but I really still wonder if they knew what I was doing, or if they just thought like he's just mentally ill, or he's depressed, or something.
they're thinking like, I messed up. like this looks cool, but I better like get someone else to fill it in. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
It
was crazy, man. But yeah, that was right in the middle of my downfall.
Sure.
So like that's when all the weight started falling off, and it just seemed like the more and that's how drugs are. The more that you come up against stress and stuff like that, the more you do, and the less you're getting high from it. And then I was doing so much, unbeknownst to me, it's ripping my mind apart. And I just think another jab is going to heal something, or it's going to make something better. And that's folly there. That's the complete opposite route you should go. But then, I don't know, do you know about psychosis and all that stuff?
I mean, very minimal. So just you explain however granular level you can to make me understand will be totally fine.
See, I didn't know nothing about it either at the time. But I'm a perfect example of it at that time. And, so I'm hearing these voices, and then like, it's funny. The Bible says, don't live in fear. I never knew what that meant growing up and stuff. Like, why is everybody afraid? Who's walking around afraid of everything? I was walking around afraid of everything. 42-year-old man, supposed to be, big and tough and all this other stuff. And, I'm walking around from my place, or my place of work to my place of residence is about 1/8 of a mile every day. And I don't drive, I'm walking it. And then I get to where I'm hearing these voices that I thought I was hearing in the shop. They're up in the woods now. All you have to do is suggest something like that to a mind that's that broken, and then all of a sudden that's real.
Sure, that's terrifying.
Oh, it's awful. It's awful. Because it's real to that person, to that patient, that psychosis patient, or that drug victim, because that's what you are at that time. Like those drugs have hurt you, and that's the consequences of it. Is stuff like that is real to you. And so I'm walking at night. I don't leave the shop ever till midnight or after and stuff, because I was a workhorse, that's for sure. But so I'm walking home. I'm hearing these voices and stuff, and I got no friends at the time that I could talk to about something like this. And if I did, and they told me, listen, man, that none of that's real, in my mind, in my paranoid mind, you're in on it.
Well, you're hearing it just like, it just sounds like extreme paranoia.
Yeah, to the extreme, which is, man, it's something like that. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. Because it's debilitating as a person. You can't do nothing. Walking around in fear all the time. Then I meet someone who's going to help me. And they were friends. Man, they were good friends. They were good-hearted people. They tried. They were Luciferians. Have you ever heard of that?
Is that like Church of Satan stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But these people, I truly believe you can find the kindness of God in anybody. And these people were going to help me out, and they started doing like this. I started hanging out with them, and they said, we're going to get the voices out of your head. We're going to do this Reiki work. And it's spiritual juju they're doing over you and stuff.
Sure. With lights.
Lights and smoke and incense and all this other stuff. But man, the first time someone said demon to me, I hadn't heard that word since I was growing up. Other movies and stuff like that, but I am convinced completely. First time someone says there's a demon, this is crazy, but they had me poking my finger, getting blood and putting it on sigils and stuff like that. And this church upbringing that I was brought up with starts to come back.
Sure.
And I don't feel this is not right. Something about this not right. And the first time that I was walking home after all that stuff had gone on, that one night where there's this demon and he's going to help you, I'm freaking out. I'm completely convinced that it's real, and that this is not going to end well. This is not going to end well at all. And I'm fixated. When you're in full blown methamphetamine addiction, you can get fixated on something on the ground. It don't matter what it is. It can be absolutely nothing. But when it's demonic and you're fixated on that whole Bible saying living in fear, I know completely what that's all about now.
So I want to clarify they call in a demon to help fight your inner demons.
That's what they said.
Dude.
That's what they said, man.
This is like a comic book.
Yeah.
But it's real life. It's real life. Terrifying.
At the time. Yeah. Just 3 years ago. Yeah.
All right. So you're walking down the street
I'm hearing this.
Did your companion have a name, or did you remember? Or do you not want to say the name?
Anticlimactic, yeah, because they did say they have a name. And the ritual that I was told about and that I was put through and all this stuff before I had my faculties to say no, which I would completely be like, get away from me now with all that stuff. But yeah, they looked it up in the book and said, this is the one. And all you have to do is call his name. And that is a word that I've never said since then. I've never said it.
I mean, you don't have to say it now.
I'm not going to say it now.
Yeah, we'll keep it out of the studio.
Yeah.
But I do know some people come in, they'll bless the studio, but I'd just rather avoid that.
Yeah, no, it's very hard to avoid a word.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, I've never had to do that in my life, and I have never said that word. And I don't plan on ever saying that word.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing, though, to try to avoid saying a word.
Oh, yeah, dude. No, this is... I love this show so much because of people like you coming in and willing to tell me these experiences. Because, but at the same time too, like I've had witches on the show, and different people have different beliefs, and the typical Wiccan in Appalachia is like a belief in nature.
Yeah, but
it sounds like you were with someone who was a little more hardcore on the demon side. I've never talked to anyone.
It's a weird
on that
thing
level
because these people meant well. That's the weird thing about it is I don't hold any ill will against them or anybody, because they were using that to try to help me. And you can see in someone's face when they're really trying to help. These people had no evil intentions or nothing like that. Like, God love them, man. They were trying to help a lost soul, and they took what they knew to the best of their ability to try to help a person who was, man, it's hard to tell what would happen if that didn't happen, because it led to my getting sober.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, you're walking down the street hearing people in the woods like, we got to throw the kitchen sink at it sometime.
Exactly.
So I get, so you're take me back to, so you're walking down, and what happens after that?
Okay, man. Like, this whole demon thing is completely taken over life. I can't get it out of my head. All the voices, the many voices that I heard, are now collected into just one. They just changed immediately when they mentioned demons to me. And that made it real. This thing that had a name now has agency in my mind. I could tell you what its voice sounded like, and it didn't sound like anything out of some demonic movie or something like that. It didn't sound like no monster at all. But,
what did it sound like?
It just sounded like, pick a random deep voice from a dude. That's all it said. It was calm. It was calm. It was, but it was real. What do you want to say there? It was really, it would pick out your faults, and it thought it was funny.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And, like everything that you ever done, it knew about somehow. One could say that's how you know it's you, because it has access to all your memories and all that stuff. Who else has access to all your memories like that? It's you. But it didn't sound like me talking. And I don't know about you, but I don't go around beating myself up all the time over stuff that happened years ago.
I try not to.
Right. Yeah. And it's not very good for your mental health at all.
Sure.
But it sounded like just a deep voice that was very, I don't know, mad at you, kind of, or just kind of picked on you. You know what I mean? That kind of thing.
I'm going to say Morgan Freeman. So I'm going to hear Morgan Freeman this whole time. I mean, like,
Sorta.
I'm not judging your voice, but that's what I'm going to hear.
Yeah, but it was
All
close.
right,
Yeah.
carry on.
Something like that. Nice and calm. So Morgan Freeman. Yeah. But I'm hearing this voice, and then I go to work, and then 2 days go by. Man, pretty good day. It's actually kind of normalcy set in for 2 days. And I think it was just, it seemed like something was setting me up to fail. Something was setting me up to fail because I had 2 great days at work. Not much in the whole voice arena, enough to where I was distracted from any thinking of that kind of nonsense, or it's hard to tell what was going on.
Sure.
But then I go home and I get high just like every other night. And then that one voice turns into, man, I heard my son's voice, my oldest son.
Wow.
And my son has never said these words to me. It's pretty hard to fake a voice. But I hear, why won't he fight for me?
Oh, man.
Those words are even hard to say out loud. Because I hadn't talked to this boy. His mom did the right thing many years ago. And when he was 7, I believe, she took me to court. All I had to do was pass drug tests. All I had to do. And wouldn't do it. Just was such a waste of a father that just didn't do it. And it was all poor me for 3 years. All poor me for 3 years. Well, she took my son away. This boy, I only saw a handful of times in that because she let me see him, not by myself, but which is shameful to say. But this night, I heard my son in my head or in my trailer. Why won't he fight for me? And then I hear my sister's voice. And again, it's pretty hard to fake a voice. And it sounded like she's praying, which there's a funny end to that story. And then I start cussing the sky and cussing the woods and saying, and it's almost like what comes into my mind is I'm on a film set, and my son's watching me, my sister's watching. This is now I know is textbook psychosis, but you feel like everyone is watching you. And, but it sounds like my sister's praying, and I snap, and I'm in this house all by myself, but I'm cussing the walls. Like, how could you watch me? You're spying on me and all this other stuff. And then sunlight comes, and you snap out of it. Psychosis. You snap out of it. And then the Jim Carrey movie film set's gone, and you're just going back to work.
Do you realize that when you snap out of it, you're like, whoa, I kind of had a moment. It's kind of just real life.
I had one of those, one of those in my whole active addiction. I had one of those that was where I'm cussing people that's inside my trailer, and then boom, the chaos is gone. And I'm sitting in my barricaded room in my bedroom, and then all that chaos goes away, and I think, dude, if this is a horror movie, you're the bad guy here. If there is anyone outside listening to you, they're scared to death of you. And then just like that, chaos is back, and I'm barricading my room with a refrigerator in front of the door and holding it shut, because I think if someone's in a trailer with you, you know.
Wow.
That's what a normal person would say. But, so I go to work after I hear my son and I hear my sister praying in the ether, and I go to work, I come back home, and I don't have that fear that I was talking about. But then I'm going to go get high, but I'm on the way to do it again. And then I hear a voice it's not in here no more. And it's not in the room just around the corner no more. It's not this disembodied voice. I hear it like it's right here. And it said something to me that I've never uttered to another human being because it was that bad. And then a 42-year-old man hits his knees crying because it's scary. It was almost like I felt its breath. And at 11 o'clock at night, a 42-year-old man calls his mommy and daddy. I haven't talked to these guys in a year. And my parents, they're not elderly, but they're old. You don't call them 11 o'clock at night, man.
Oh, they've been asleep for 4 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
And but there's that selfish addict thing. You don't care. And plus, I think my life is in danger at this point. And I think it is important to say that what they should have said is, get off the phone, you junkie, or whatever you want to say. But they didn't, man. I say, Mom, Dad, do you believe in demons? I don't mention drugs, not that I remember. And also important to note that the whole time for 2 hours, so I feel like it was like about 2 hours, that I'm talking to my parents who I haven't spoken to in probably a year, other than to say, hey, I'm down Charleston, I'm okay. You know?
Mm-hmm.
But they are praying with me. They're telling me that I'm, the words I haven't heard since I grew up. You're God's child. Ain't no demon got no hold over you.
Bless these people.
Oh my God. And it was almost like, if you want, I've told people, it was almost like God knew my mama was my way back to God.
Mm.
And when I heard that there's no hold over you, that you're not, I don't remember exactly how they put it, but the only power that demon has is what you allow it to have. I think subconsciously my brain knew demon, drug, same deal.
Sure.
And so I don't remember hanging up the phone, but it was a great conversation. And they spent 2 hours calming me down, frantic. I was frantic. I was manic, whatever you want to say. But to hear my dad say that you're going to be okay, to hear my mom say you're God's child, you're going to be all right, when I just thought I was going to get dragged to hell a minute ago.
Sure.
But to hear that, man, that was the first time in 25 years I went to sleep.
Mm.
First time in 25 years that I went to sleep. I was a professional drug user, man, 25 years. Never wanted to hear about all that stuff.
25 years.
Yeah, 25 years, 2.5 decades. And I woke up.
Your drug use could have bought beer for 4 years.
Good
Like,
Lord,
that's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Golly.
Yeah. Then that next day, after talking to my mom, man, I go to work. And I forget. This is important. I forget to get high. Now, you're a drug user. You don't forget to get high.
Right.
I forgot to get high. And I went to work, and everything was great. Everything was great. It was awesome. And I went home, and I forgot to get high, and I went to bed. And then my buddy Rooster at the shop was a great one, because I needed someone to be beholden to. And I told him, I said, man, I'm quitting. I'm done with this stuff. And because I need to tell somebody, and you've done lied to everybody, but there was a guy at the shop who, he was a new guy. And I'd said, man, listen, I just need to tell somebody, like, I'm done with this stuff, and I need someone to tell.
Heck yeah.
But,
that's what AA is about. Sounds like.
Yeah, man. I've had a lot of those. I never went to rehab, but I've had a lot of those, like Amber and Brian. Mm-hmm. My mom and dad, my fiance, a lot of it was rehab without the professional title. Staying with Amber and Brian was rehab. It just wasn't public. It was just for me.
Well, it sounded like you're hitting the accountability stage of, like,
yeah,
you hit rock bottom. Now it's time to be accountable and climb out of this.
That's what my son Abel was about. Man, I didn't, like I said, I didn't get high. I didn't get sober for him. I wish I did. A lot of parents, you'll hear that. Man, I found out I was having a baby and everything was done. I wish I could say that, man, because those people should be very proud of themselves. If you can hear that and then say, okay, I'm done with all that stuff, man, you're a father that does that. You're a man. you're a man. That's a beautiful thing.
Well, I believe regardless, it's for yourself every time.
Yeah.
And you rationalize the reason for that, whatever it may be, but it is for yourself.
Yeah, it is.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. It's got to be.
Yeah. It's and how beautiful that it is that you were able to realize that. It sounds like to me like this is very relatable. Like I can see how this happens because let's just say, for instance, like I may have partaked in a marijuana joint a few times in my life.
Yeah.
And paranoia, the way it is, like let's just say you smoke too much.
Yeah.
And then there's something that happens. It's like everything is maximized to the 10th power.
Oh, man.
Well, when you essentially overdose on pot, it's to the 100th power. And that could be anything. Like I remember looking at my pulse and I heard a verbal sound of audio in my head just like blowing up when I saw my pulse was high.
Yeah.
Like I can see how your brain could be in that state. I could only imagine, doing meth and crack and all these things for 25 years. Your brain is going to be pretty hurt.
It's ripping apart. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you look up any like the physical stuff, the biological stuff that happens, is that the right word? Biological?
Sure. That sounds good. That works in this studio.
Yeah, I think so. The organic things that happen, those synapses, man, they're firing so much and then they just burn out. And it takes years for that to heal itself. But it's kind of weird that they heal, like it's scar tissue. It's tougher than when it was normally.
Sure.
If you hadn't have done that stuff, that scar tissue, just like tattooing, when you tattoo scar tissue, it's tougher than your regular skin that wasn't injured and stuff. So now you're prone to psychosis more. If anyone going through anything like that would go back, you're prone to psychosis and stuff like that. But with knowledge retention, with memory, bringing up old memories and stuff like that, things are better. I can remember things from when I was a kid now that I probably wouldn't have recollected before.
Yeah. Well, and it's got to be part of your subconscious speaking to you too.
It's got to be.
You know what I mean? Like deep down inside, you knew what you wanted to do. Yeah. You just hid from the truth for so long. And
that's exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. You're doing everything to bury the truth because you definitely don't want to face that, especially the damage I have done. I did not want to face that, but it's good that it wins. It's good that you get hurt and roughed up by your past and your mistakes a little bit.
Oh,
because it teaches you a lot.
Oh, listen, I'm sure there were times where people wanted to wring your neck and, you did things and it sounds like and you take accountability for that. Like we got to be accountable for things we did wrong. That's the only way you can climb out is if you acknowledge like I'm flawed. Here's why I'm flawed. I'm going to fix these flaws, I
got a real thing with I was raised up by a man. My dad, everybody thinks their dad's Superman, but I got good reason to think, you know what I mean? My dad's one woman man his whole life. He's a coal miner, come from a long line of coal miners. That was really funny when I went to my first Wolfe family gathering.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't ask me what I did for a living. They asked me which mine I worked at.
Oh, yeah.
And I had to say, I'm a tattoo artist.
They look at you like, you hear crickets.
What?
Like,
yeah. But then Brian Hammond coming, he's a dude's dude. He's a man's man. And being around him as well, if you want to be a man at any point in time in your life, you have to be accountable for what you have done and you have to do your damnedest to fix it. If not, there's not much chance in being that man and being that father. And that's my main goals nowadays is to be a good man and a good father.
Sure. So. Well, recovery's like, any good recipe, meatloaf, for instance, you need all of these different ingredients. And I think people having that empathy to just talk to you.
Yeah.
Can do so much good. And that's why, of course, we're not saying people, let your kids steal money and do all these crazy things and this and that. But you can love your kids in different ways without shutting the door on them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm not saying pay their car payment. I'm saying like,
no, don't enable people.
Yeah. Don't enable. But just that conversation you had with your parents just gives me chills, and Amber too, and all these people.
Yeah. The best thing in the world.
You know, there's so many people that are on the streets today that I believe could climb out of it if they had those people, and they don't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
At the shop nowadays, I try to use the shop, but I just wonder if something else ain't using the shop. But I get really good opportunities to talk to people about that kind of stuff, whether it be clients or whether it be just people that's wandering in off the street, because Mount Hope's got it just as much as any town's got it. And it just seems funny that like every time someone will come in that needs a little ear or somebody to talk to, empathize with, sympathize with, it just seems that I'm not predisposed. It just seems that no one's in the chair, and I'll get this opportunity to talk to people that are suffering, that are going through similar stuff. And I've been there, and it's a really cool way that we use the shop now, other than to do tattoos.
That's real preaching to me. That's like what it's all about, is like just being there. And it could be like, you know, someone may want to talk about a football game or whatever. You know, it's just walking them through being a human.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Golly, this is great. How do you tattoo a straight line when you're in this mode? Like, how does it? Because a good tattoo artist makes solid lines.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
I want to walk into that a little bit, and then we'll come back to this. So, when did you learn how to do this art form? Was you into like painting or drawing or sketching when you was young?
I was always drawing stuff. And then, like I said, I was going to Fairmont State. I wanted to be a homicide detective. I probably watched Lethal Weapon too many times or something.
Sure. No, yeah.
But
it's a good movie.
Yeah, oh yeah. Then I was working at an airbrush shop. I got this fluke come about to where this buddy of one of the band members that I hung out with, he said, "Man, TJ works in an airbrush shop." I said, "Yeah, I like to do that because I draw and stuff. I like to do that." And it was one of those at the mall where you know, the license plate with the beach scene and all
sure,
that stuff.
Yeah.
And so I was doing that, and working at Long John's, and going to college, and playing in a metal band. And then our band was practicing in this place in Morgantown. Landlord kicks us out, and then this dude from Preston County, who just, I say this dude now, but he changed my life, completely changed my life. He's going to let us practice in his basement. Awesome. Cool. Now the band's got a place to practice. And this guy come up to me in the middle of the first practice that we was there, and we, you know, metal band practice, it's a party. It's, you know, there just happens to be music being played. But he says, "Man, you ought to be a tattoo artist." And it did not click. Why is he telling me that? Because I'm from the hills, man. Tattooing wasn't part of our culture at all.
Right.
Not even in the least little bit. My pap was a decorated war veteran. He didn't even have tattoos.
It was desecration of the flesh in old regular Baptist.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. In the hills of West Virginia, you don't do that.
That's right.
But that's definitely a thing. Now we say, you know, you're decorating a temple, but that's not what was said back in.
Yeah. Well, so my grandpa was an old regular Baptist preacher, but they never really cared about us getting tattoos. Right. But that was kind of the religious aspect of it.
Yeah. And so it just doesn't occur to you that you could draw on people for a dollar. You know what I mean? It just doesn't occur to you. And then at the end of practice, he approaches me again. I said, "Man, you ought to be a tattoo artist." And then he says, "I own the only tattoo shop in Preston County." And it clicks. My sister, God love her, my sister had gotten tattooed by that guy.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't connect it because I wasn't concerned. I was a guitar player and all that stuff, you know. And she got tattooed. I didn't get tattooed. And it was just a thing. She got a little whale on her. I didn't know where she got it. I think it was 3 years. Then I'm in this guy's basement who tattooed my sister. He don't know it. I don't know it. Just funny. You're always 2 degrees of separation.
Sure. Yeah.
It's always that stuff. But he says, "Come up and try your hand at it tomorrow." And I tell people this story at the shop all the time. It's so crazy that this guy, I go up the next day, Jay Cook, that's his name.
Shout out.
Yeah. He owned Ink by Night tattoos in Kingwood, West Virginia. And I love him to death. And he changed my life so much for the better. And he says, here's this tray of stuff that I'd never seen before. Never seen it before. I'd barely seen a tattoo. The guys in the band had tattoos. I didn't pay attention to them.
Did you have no tattoos at this time?
No.
Okay.
I was an 18-year-old kid, man. I had no tattoos, never even bothered to look at a tattoo magazine or nothing like that. And he says, here's this stuff, come back here. It was just a one-room shop, so he had a counter and back here. And he said, sit down, and if you can do this tattoo, then he hands me a design. I didn't get to pick out my first tattoo. And then I had to put that tattoo on myself. And he says, if you got a tattoo by the end of it, you got a job. I want a job. My parents, they's always working, man. That's West Virginia. You work for what you do. You know what I mean?
Lord, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to get this job. This is an opportunity. I can feel it. And then I feel it less because this is hard. This is hard.
I would imagine you can't just,
Yeah.
I can wing it. We'll figure it out.
No, yeah. And he doesn't, I believe Jay would say, I didn't teach him. I showed him and I gave him the opportunity, but he did not teach me. He gave me some pointers, but he did not teach me. And I think he did that on purpose. But here I am. I don't know anything about this. I've got ink everywhere. I've got blood everywhere. I'm gouging the crap out of myself. And, this thing that was supposed to be feathers and beads, because you can tell I'm so Native American. not even a little bit, probably. But so it's supposed to be Native American feathers and beads, and it looks more like a praying mantis or mosquito or something like that. But he looks down at it, and I think what he saw was potential. I don't for one second think that he thought it was a good tattoo, but I think Jay thought it was potential. But he said, man, you're natural. Come back tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking, this is stupid. I don't want to do this the rest of my life. This is hard.
That's terrifying.
It's crazy. It's
permanent.
Yeah. Here it is on my leg. And, but it's an opportunity. And my dad taught me to work, man. And I wanted that job because it was there, I guess. I don't know. Something drew me toward it, but it was very hard to get anything to happen that looked right. Every line seemed to be wrong. Everything I did, it was just awful that first time. Then the next day, I am given my drummer's leg. And now I know legs jump around when you tattoo them. And he wants this little barbed wire and flame kind of job. And his legs jumping all over the place, man. And it's this experience is awful. And I look at this tattoo and this is terrible. And then there's Jay. He was a very encouraging guy. And he says, man, you're natural. Come back tomorrow.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. And then the next day, I'm tattooing the public.
Lord Jesus.
That's what I said. Be with me, And then man, that's how I come into tattooing. Nowadays, you'll have proper apprenticeships. But I got the sink or swim,
This is the best West by God way I've ever heard.
It totally is.
So what did you remember your first public tattoo for someone you didn't know?
Yeah.
What was it?
Yeah. It was this lion, and it looked like it was on the back of a National Geographic magazine. And I could draw it probably. And I'm thinking, you can't tattoo this. You don't know how to do this. But Jay had told me, because he was leaving me alone in the shop at this time. And this is terrible idea, but I'm going to do it. Because he said, if you're afraid of it, do it. You'll do a good job. You'll pay attention. And I could see the way his brain was thinking, but I didn't get it at the time. Mm-hmm. And, but now I know there's so much to tattooing, man. There's so much little intricacies in what you're doing that I probably just should have stuck to the easy stuff like he told me. But he did say if it was a challenge and if I was afraid of it, do it. You'll do a good job. And so I'm stenciling out the best I can this line because he did show me how to make a stencil. And I think if I can get the bones of it on there, then I can shade it and I can make it look all right. And it's on this guy who couldn't have stood up in here. He's huge because that's what it was back in the day. It was bikers and stuff like that.
Sure.
And this is 98, 99, and I've been tattooing a long time.
That's great.
But, yeah. But so this guy, I'm sure he got off of a bike. I'm sure that was the case. And he's a nice guy, but he just looks like he would just pound you if you did something wrong. And so I'm going to shave his arm because that's part of the job too. You got to clean up the canvas, right? And I tell people this story when I'm shaving them down, but I say I was shaving this guy and I'm getting ready to do it, and it's on his right arm and stuff, and I'm cleaning the canvas. I don't know how to shave another person. That's a skill, man.
Yeah.
That's a skill.
You never think about it.
Yeah, it's just something you don't think about.
Right.
But I turn that razor sideways and I do one of these.
Oh,
Do like a little kind of half circle type of deal, and it just lacerates the crap.
oh no.
Yeah, it's terrible. And I'm a little guy, and I'm down here looking at this giant of a dude, big white beard, big long hair and stuff. And I think he is just going to nail me or shoot me. And what he does is say, it sounded like Santa Claus or something saying, "Well, we can't do that side, can we?" And he lets me just switch it to the other side. Yeah.
Oh, what a nice person.
Yeah. Oh, he was great. He was awesome. And I lied to that guy, and I said, I've been tattooing 3 years. I know now that he knew I was lying.
Yeah.
But so I'm at that same shop 3 years later, and he comes in, and I say, "Man, I've been tattooing 3 years today. That's crazy because you were my first." And I stopped.
Whoops.
And he says, "Yeah." And he had a smile on his face, like he knew anyway. But yeah, he did bust me out. Yeah. But yeah, that was my first client that I didn't know. Yeah.
That's great. So what are the intricacies of tattooing? Like, I know there's different needles that do different things, correct? Or what is like, there's line work and then there's shading. Are there other things that I'm missing, or?
That's the first two things, man. That's the first two things. And now today we are spoiled. I tell everybody, because of the cartridge business, are you aware of all that
Nope.
stuff? Man, it was whoever developed that. I wouldn't kiss them on the mouth, but I'd shake their hand real good. But
What is that?
it's with the advent of the pen style machine, which is, again, someone was thinking when they invented that thing. But you, just like a magazine and a gun, you pop it out, you put another one in, and there's a different kind of needle. A needle configuration is single needles, which you don't use a whole lot nowadays, but single needle to 3-liners. Say a 3-liner is just 3 little needles, and then there's a little bit of space, but they're grouped into a tight point. So they make one line as far as the naked eye sees. But then there's more space for ink to get down in there, and you make a bigger line. Shaders are grouped into, there's from a 3 shader to a 120 needle shader.
What? They make them that big?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Any kind of needle configuration out there. If you can think it up, someone has tried to use it, because you can make them yourself, and that's what we used to do back in the day. We used to have to go in the back of these tattoo shops in a little room, and you're soldering and you're breathing this flux and all that stuff all night long. And then, like back in the day, an autoclave was basically a pressure cooker. Spalding and Rogers used to sell. It was exactly what your grandma used to can stuff, but it just said tattoo on it somewhere. So that was how you sterilized it. But nowadays they're pretty intricate and stuff. But
so did the health department eventually get involved in like checking out places and different things like that, make sure things are sanitary? And
as far as long as I've been tattooing, they've always been involved. Their level of involvement has changed, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing. If something like this is going to be a popular thing, which it's immensely popular now in my 20 some years of tattooing, 27, I do believe the math is. I've been tattooing long enough to forget how long I've been tattooing.
Perfect.
But the health department has definitely kicked it up a notch. The guy I used to work for at Think and Ink in Morgantown, Young and Swagger, he helped bring tattooing to West Virginia, which I really feel fortunate enough to have worked for him for a very limited time before he passed on. But he helped bring tattooing and health regulations to West Virginia. And nowadays they're pretty stringent. You got to be on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you, for your shop, did you pick out all the stencils that people could come in and I imagine order from a menu, or they give you like a custom idea? Is that basically
That's what
how
our
it works?
shop is. Our shop, we have some books laying around that, I'll be honest with you, we just ordered them off the internet, and I use them just to kind of spring people's ideas. And to be honest as well, they lay there. They don't get touched. Because nowadays, and it's pretty common nowadays, is people come in with an idea of something they saw, another tattoo someone got. Pinterest is, you hate it and you love it because you need a muse. You need ideas to stay current, to stay on top of the tattoo game at all. You've got to put stuff out there that people aren't seeing. And to get unique ideas has always been the tattoo game. It's got to be tattooable. It's got to be solid. It's got to be in the skin forever, because that's the whole point of a tattoo. And it's got to be something that the next guy don't have, because everybody wants unique stuff. But people come into the shop that our shop now, and they just say, "Hey man, I want something like this." Most of the time, that's the deal. Or, "Hey, I've got this idea."
Yeah.
And that's the awesome stuff. That's where you get to cook them up something.
Where do you take it from there? Do you kind of do a sketch and just say, okay, here's what I'm thinking. I'm going to make a stencil out of this. Or do you just go ahead and make the direct stencil and say, here it is?
No, most of the time it goes through. I have a process, and I am, it used to be because of procrastination. Now it's because I'm busy, but, because ever since, you start being more serious about your life, whatever that reason may be, mine has gotten sober. You start taking things a little bit more seriously, and then you get a process. Mm-hmm. And my process is now, most of the time, it's either what do you want to say? It's a dedicated consultation appointment where they come in, you set aside an hour just to talk to this person about their tattoo. And that's what I love doing. That's the better way of doing it. And you sit there and you take some notes, and you might draw some stuff here and there. And you look at whatever kind of stuff that they've gathered up, like, "Hey, I like this, but put this on this," or whatever.
Sure.
And then I'll tell them, give me 2 weeks. And then I'll come up with some designs. I'll throw them some references that I've seen. Maybe we could take from this or that. And then on about the beginning of week 2, we're really kind of meshing the minds. And then by their tattoo date, man, we've come up with their masterpiece.
That's awesome. Have you ever misspelled a word? And we can blame the math.
Okay, man.
We can blame the math. Like,
I'm going to be real honest.
My man Kelcey ain't going to misspell your word today, but
Right,
this is one of my main questions.
Right. Yeah. So there was this lady who came in, and she swore to me that this her brother's name was Christopher.
No T.
No T.
Gotcha.
I asked her a million times if it was T, no T. Man, there was a T. Because she called me up later on, and she says, "Hey, we got this thing to fix." And I said, "Come on." And then we got it fixed.
How did you fix that?
It was a pretty easy fix, thank God. Yeah, it was pretty easy.
Put like a cross behind it? Well,
I had to split that O up.
Okay.
Yeah, so the T kind of does this number, and the new O comes off of the old O, and you kind of throw some lines in there, and then eventually it was Christopher.
Nice.
Yeah.
I got this is your website, correct?
Yes, sir.
wolfsonginc.com. Yeah. So I wanted to bring up some of your work so people can look at while we're talking about it. What's the craziest tattoo you've ever done? Do you have one that comes to mind, or
a few?
Do you have any where you're like, I can't draw that on you? Like, I'm not going to do that. Or is it, people are pretty reasonable with the requests.
Pretty reasonable and man, I like doing the weird stuff. I love doing the weird stuff. There is stuff like there's the classic tattoo guy saying of like, "I'm not going to do your swastikas and I'm not going to do stuff like that."
Sure.
But then there's always exceptions to those rules too, because you get looking into or researching where those symbols come from. And like the swastika has been around since way before it was used for anything bad, or way before we think of it as something bad. So if someone wanted it for that reason, because it's an old ancient spiritual symbol. And so if they wanted it for that reason, yeah, I would do it. But there's stuff like
still a red flag. It's like, you're going to have to really do a sales pitch.
I'm going to think about that one.
Like,
I'm going to think about that one for sure.
Yeah. But I've always been curious about that because I'm sure people come in with some off the wall requests. So.
They do. That's the greatest stuff. That's the stuff that, like, if you post it, that's the stuff that's going to get your big hits and all that stuff on it, views and all that stuff. But the more crazy, the better.
Yeah, we got like there's this beautiful hand that has like these bones and a rose on it, and which if you're watching the YouTube version, you can see. But yeah, man. So you do portraits and stuff. Have you ever taken a photo and like try to, transfer that to their body?
Oh yeah.
So you do portraits?
It's great stuff. On the Facebook page, we need to update this website, but on the Facebook page, there's more of that stuff. But portraiture is so cool nowadays because I don't use that method, but you could. There are stencil machines. It used to be you're just making stencils from the carbon transfer paper and all that cool stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And nowadays, someone was really thinking, and they modified an Epson jet printer. And now you can put, now it'll be in purple ink, but you can put a photograph on a person's skin and just use that as your stencil. And portraiture is, at first, it's intimidating though, because Aunt May's got to look like Aunt May.
Oh yeah,
look
dude.
like Uncle Jim. Yeah.
Some of my favorite videos are the portrait fails where they do and then they put the foam on their arm and they wipe it off, and you're like, whoa,
yeah, why
that does not look like that person. But I can't imagine. I would be shivering. I mean, which I'm not really necessarily an artist, but still.
I used to. But still nowadays, that's time to be at your best.
Yeah,
totally devoted to that one person and what they're wanting.
How long does a typical sleeve on an arm take?
That's definitely a multiple session deal. And it just depends if you're doing like crazy mandala or geometric stuff. You're on that person for 15 sessions.
Really?
If it's, I don't know if anything's classic anymore because you can embellish on stuff so much, but you're on a person for say 6 to 10 sessions on a good sleeve. If you're doing good quality work, if you're taking your time, a good quality tattooer is going to work slow.
Yeah.
And they're not going to, a lot of people come in the shop, hey man, can I get a sleeve? And can we do it in one session? And that's always a hard no. I don't care what you're getting.
Sure. So what are the stages of that? If someone gets an arm done, do you do it in sections, or do you do the line work on the whole arm, or like what's the stages?
Used to, it was like say 15 years ago, every tattoo artist is going to say, we're going to do the line work first today. And then we're going to shade it until it's done. And it's just not done like that. Nowadays, you can do color stuff and black and gray stuff. You just start building it from the bottom. And then the next time wherever you leave off, and I've spent 8 to 10 hours in just a little spot that's, 6 by 3, and you're in that for 8 hours. And the next time they come back, you're going to pull up on your iPad their stencil, and then you're just going to cut that stencil exactly where it left off. You're going to lay that on them. And the iPads are really cool because with the program Procreate, you're giving your dimensions and all that stuff on there.
Sure. And
you can measure that arm and that stencil, and it'll come out perfect every time. And that's awesome. It was a lot harder to do that back in the day. Yeah. But now you're just starting right off when they come back a month later, and you just pick up right where they left off. Or sometimes people are bosses and they come back the very next day, because multiple sessions is a pretty popular thing nowadays. There were multiple back-to-back days.
Yeah.
Yeah. So something like that was never done 20 years ago.
How many cover-ups do you do?
A lot.
Have you ever, since we talked about, have you ever had, a reformed racist come in and be like, man, can you, cover this up? I'm very embarrassed.
Yeah, for sure.
Really? That's awesome.
Oh, it's pretty cool, man. And then that's a challenge to you, too, because just like we was talking about, that's classic. If I was to have an apprentice, I would give them that and say, take this hard swastika and cover it up.
What do you do? Just make a cube? No, how do you
do that?
Well, I'm just saying, do you have a certain tattoo you put over that you go for that has more detail maybe, or
Cover-ups are awesome nowadays because the inks are like, there's been so much like development in the pigments nowadays. There's more pigment in the ink, and it's all made out of hypoallergenic stuff. So you're not so worried about pigment allergies. I have seen it with the current inks and stuff like that. Pigment allergies, when people just get too much ink in one day, your body, it builds up in your body, and your body kind of sees it as a foreign agent.
Right.
Now, back 15, 20 years ago, when there were still plasticides in the ink and stuff like that, that was bad. And you're not trying to pound all that into somebody's skin. But nowadays you can use, like I use a lot of opaque grays, where a lot of black and gray stuff used to be just black. And then you would have like the watered down diluted black, and you would just spread that out over an area. And that's what they call black and gray tattoos. Today we're using opaque grays, like the actual color gray. And you can go from, I use a 5-stage gray. Some people's using 6, 8 or whatever, but you're using from straight black to white and every kind of gray in between. And you can take opaque gray. Sounds weird that you can take an opaque gray, a lighter gray, and cover up black with it, but you can do that. So doing a cover up nowadays is a lot easier. It's a lot less, there's not as many residuals shining through that new tattoo.
Gotcha.
Because you can just take those opaque grays and just kind of go back to not skin tone, but you can go, you're painting over it, man.
Yeah. I call this one Trailer Park Blue.
I love it. Yeah.
So I don't know what I'd cover that up with, but
anything easy nowadays.
So, and looking at the different works, so some of them have harder lines than others. Is there, like, I saw this flower that has just red. You can't even see the outline necessary. It's just like a painting. Yeah. How does that technique differ from the actual line work? Like, do you push harder to do lines, or is it a different needle?
It's more concentrated. It's a different needle. You're dedicating that space for that line and stuff. That thing right there helped me kind of develop a technique, because the only line work in it was I did what they call a bloodline at the very edge of those petals. That's on Amber Hammond. She was the one.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, she's the one that cursed me with that bottom leaf there. When she showed me that design, I said, "Why do you want that? Why don't you just let me do something easy?" But it was a big help.
Pretty epic, dude.
Yeah, 3 hours were spent in those 2 bottom petals, and I gave up. I said, "Okay, I'm done." And I was mad and angry at it. In the next session, the next 3 hours, we got the whole thing done, because it caused me to kind of go and come at the tattoo a whole entirely different way. And it went like a breeze after that, but you're painting it pretty much.
You ever tattooed a tongue?
Yeah.
Really?
So it's one time. Yeah. But it's weird. And it doesn't last.
I'd say it doesn't last?
Yeah, it doesn't last.
Okay. So does it fade, or does it go away completely?
It's weird, because your mouth, the inside of your mouth, your hands and your feet are areas on your body that shed constantly, that are we're constantly losing skin from them. And that's gross, but we don't feel it in our mouth because we're constantly swallowing.
Sure. Yeah.
But, it's hard to do, because it's wet and you got to dry the tongue out and stuff.
Golly.
It's a weird thing.
You got to wear gloves, right? I mean, what about the inside of like a lip?
Yeah. Done it many times. Yeah.
How about like a fingernail? I don't know. Well, that wouldn't make sense. I mean, your fingernail.
Really? And it will go in there and it will stay forever in that underneath. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I've seen that done too. I have not done that, but I've seen it done, and they still have it. It's underneath the fingernail.
How interesting. When someone comes in and says, like, I want Born to Lose tattooed on my forehead, are you kind of like, well, you got to sign this waiver first?
You try to be, it's really easy to do that now, because I'm a responsible adult.
Right.
Back in the day, I don't know if I would have done that, but you try to stray people away. In the tattoo industry, you have like what they call the "I don't need a job" tattoo, and you try to talk kids out of that as much as possible.
But the SoundCloud rapper thing is like a path.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, some people make it really big, sweetest people in the world, Post Malone, has, all kinds of face tattoos, and I don't judge people for that, but that's quite the decision. That's like dedication, which you have one right here.
Yeah.
When did you get that on next to your eye?
And believe it or not, I was probably about 15 days sober.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it was crazy. And my buddy Rooster said, we should tattoo your face today. I said, okay. Just there again, just go with stuff. And, but it's been a cool thing, man, because, like I was in Morgantown one day and, it was right after my baby, my son Abel was born, and I was dressed up, sober, and I was going to go to a meeting, and, the meeting was canceled. I didn't know that, I just looked up meetings on Google and around Morgantown. I just went. Well, that meeting had been canceled, but this guy, he's walking up, and he's asking for some change and stuff. And he looks up at my face and he says, and I don't get it at the time because you forget they're there,
Mm-hmm.
but he says, how'd you get off the streets, man? And I told him, I went through all the stuff, and, you can get there, and just said, hey, there's a meeting here, apparently, come to these meetings, and encouraged him to just stop doing the stuff. Really good conversation. You walk away from conversations like, man, right on,
Sure.
And then I get back to the Ronald McDonald House that I was telling you about, and I look at my face, and my face is tattooed. That's how he knew I got out, because apparently he thought, because a lot of people do, so they're getting tattoos on their face when they don't give a damn,
Sure. That's so interesting. I mean, because a flaw of humans is we do judge people, and a face tattoo is one. Like you said, it's called the "don't get a job" tattoo. I didn't know that. So it's called a thing.
Tattoo. Yeah,
Gotcha. So it's good to know that some of the sweetest people have face tattoos.
Yeah,
what would you say your percentage of face tattoos? Like, how many you do a year? Is it typically, what is the main, is it like, someone's arm? Like, what is the typical place someone gets a tattoo?
Face tattoos, less than 1%.
Yeah.
Definitely less than 1%. Or here.
Forearm.
Right here. And I hate to encourage that, but it's a great piece of skin. It really is. So, but yeah, that's maybe 60% of things are done right there.
What's the most painful? Armpit?
That's a rough one. Ribs is right there. Inside of the thigh is a good one. Throat is a good one. Ribs has got to be, if it's not number one, it's number two. But ribs is when I got my ribs. I hate to say that, but I fell to pieces during that. They couldn't do anything to console me. I just grunted and hollered all my way through that.
Have you ever had to tell someone like, okay, like you're freaking out too much, we gotta kind of, have you?
Yeah.
What's the process there? Like, because I was so a former girlfriend of mine, long time ago, before I was with my beautiful wife, obviously, but she got a tattoo. I guess they call it like a tramp stamp. I don't know. Is that a negative term?
I tell people it's a tramp stamp only if the term applies.
Okay, gotcha.
Not, it's a lower back tattoo.
Okay, lower back tattoo, and it was so bad that like eventually the artist was like, listen, like, we got to kind of stop this, because you're freaking out too much, basically.
Yeah, and you'll ruin a tattoo. And a tattoo artist, still, even nowadays, if line work isn't the most important part of doing a tattoo, because my generation of tattooers, that was beat into your head. The lines are the most important thing in the universe. And it's still, if your tattoo has lines, then it is. That's what holds the thing together. And so whenever a tattoo artist that really cares is laying down a line, that's our name. That's our whole name. And in one little mark, that's our whole name. And given as much tattoos are, you're making videos of them and stuff like that to put them out there. And if you're not on social media tattooing nowadays, you're probably not doing great.
Sure. Yeah.
But, so it's just weird how that has taken over. It used to not be a thing. It should not be a thing in anyone's life, but especially a tattooer, these old biker shops and stuff like that. But nowadays, even us old cats are, we're social media gurus because you want to put a tattoo out there.
Yeah. One of those things, you got to do it.
You do, yeah. But that's your name, every line you're doing. And so when someone's freaking out, they're tearing up their tattoo and they're tearing up your tattoo. So you just got to be nice and you got to just, give them a minute or give them a whole nother session if they can't get it together. And I hate to say that. Thank God for numbing cream.
Oh, so there is numbing cream
Oh,
that
yeah,
you can use?
it's a big thing now. It's huge. And a lot of people use it. A lot of people. Not 50%, but still a lot.
Well, so let's talk about that. So a lot of the reason that some people get tattoos
Excuse me.
is because they really enjoy, is it the pain or like the feeling of it?
Well, some people's addicted straight to just the feeling of it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I wonder why that is.
It's where we got a penchant for feeling good. So feeling that is good to some people. I say it to a lot of people nowadays a lot, is you got two different types of tattooed people. You got people like to get tattoos, and then people like to have tattoos. Some people like to have tattoos because they like the pretty pictures and all that stuff.
Sure.
I mean, it goes way deeper than that, but that's the bare bones of it. But then people like to get tattoos, and whether it feels harsh or whatever, there's that thing. There's no pain, no gain. And some people, I think, we're hardwired that way. If we go through something, and that's what makes tattooed people different as well, is you've went through sometimes gut wrenching, awful, terrible 7, 8 hours, 10 hours, of grueling pain, but you have this. And it meant something to you, and you love that. So then that kind of, you can see how like biology would get there. Your brain is geared to, I don't care how much it hurts. It's awesome. The more you do that, the more you just like the feeling of it.
Sure. Yeah.
Over time.
Have you, it seems to be a thing now that people are just coloring their whole arm.
Yeah.
Do you do that too? You're
Sure
like,
do.
okay, I'll make your whole arm,
Black.
blue or
Black
whatever.
it out, yeah. It seems to be like the only thing that is an out is a blackout. I haven't seen a red out or anything like it. Not that it's caught on. Sometimes you'll have whole backgrounds that are just one solid color or whatever, but blackouts are a thing, man. And people dig that. And I dig it. I think it's a cool thing. When it first happened, when you see like the big stories of the machine gun Kellys and all that stuff, done, I thought, but then Brian Hammond got one. He had this wolf, and it was horrid. It was awful. And it was just like, what do we do to this thing? And I tried to rework it, and it just ain't happening, man. And I think I worked on that tattoo 3 different times. And that's a lot of work on the skin.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got in some 45 needle shaders that are about 1.25 inches long. And that's just 45 needles. And they're building like a paintbrush kind of pattern,
Mm-hmm.
And then he said, just black it out. And then we're going to put white over top of it. And we've done that. And then since we just blacked it out from here to here. And with that big needle configuration, it only took about 45 minutes just to go from the wrist clear up. And then we put a white wolf and like mountain scene over it and the moon. And it's really cool art.
Wow.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of anyone getting like a bad infection? Or like, is there a common infection that happens with tattoos?
Yeah.
Or if you don't take care of it?
Yeah. Well, like whenever let's say plasticides were in the ink, used to see people like, it would look like a keloid scar, real puffy.
Mm-hmm.
But that was your body trying to push out foreign agents. I've seen pet hair give people real bad.
No way.
It's nasty. Yeah. And then pigment allergies are terrible too. When I was at, Artistic Creations in Charleston, there was this Facebook picture that was going around, and it looked like someone hit this guy with a blowtorch. It was awful. And we all saw the picture, and then the guy walks into our shop. And we're like, hey, dude, you're famous. And he let me, though, whenever that crazy thing healed up, it was like a praying hands and a dove and all this stuff. And what he had done is got too much work. It was a pigment allergy. He got too much work done at one time, and his body just said, heck no. And it looked awful. And it was, all the stuff that goes along with infection. It was irritated and pussy. It was terrible. And it healed up. It was okay. It was really okay. So I went through and just kind of spiced back up the tattoo, made the lines crispy again and all that stuff, and it was fine. But yeah, the infection it can get bad. They're nasty.
And this is a filterless show. So what about like back knee? Do you work around
Yeah.
blemishes, and like, have you ever like hit one and you're like, whoops, you're bleeding, or like, well, I mean, you bleed the whole time.
Yeah, you're bleeding all the time. I mean, a little bit, but
I'm just curious how that works. Like, it's like a road map. You gotta
is.
work around.
Topographical, yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, that's just like, if they want the tattoo, then you got to get real with people. And tattooing, man, tattooing's a real culture. It's a really cool thing. People who get tattoos they're non-filtered and stuff. It's the greatest because you don't have a hard time communicating with people. And it's weird that, like, when you put people through pain, or there's a prospect of pain or anything like that, people drop all these facades that a lot of people carry around.
Sure. Yeah.
If you've been through it at least once, you know that you can't put on airs when you're in pain, or there's a prospect of getting there. But yeah, you just break it down with people. Man, you may have to treat this, or I'm just going to tattoo right over it. If it's a walk-in, you're going right over it. There's no time to treat it.
Yeah, as a diabetic, I'm glad my trailer dragon didn't rot off. But and then the other one I got, of course, I got No Regrets on my back. And then the movie came out with the guy that had no regrets on his chest. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I thought I was the only one.
Oh, that's awesome.
And but I got that one at Dragon's Den in Princeton, I think is what it was called. I can't remember. It was on the Stafford Drive there in Princeton. Yeah. But anyway, I was in the line at Taco Bell and I said, hey, I'm going to go get a tattoo. And my buddy was like, do it, man, do it. That's going to be so cool. He was like 20 or something. Yeah. We went over there and got one. Well, I got one. He didn't get one. But anyway, well, how interesting. And you're a musician too, which we're going to get into some music now. This is just a full-scale, all-encompassing interview today. You brought an acoustic guitar in here. When did you start playing music?
I've been playing ever since I've been alive. I think I remember seeing pictures of me with like a little Roy Rogers guitar, the plastic with the fishing line strings and stuff at like 3 years old. But when I was 7, the guy down the road, I always tell people.
Oh, you're fine.
I always tell people I got my own Curtis Lowe. He was the dude who lived down by the river. And he taught me a lot. Between him and my grandpap Smitty, the both of them taught me a great deal when I was just kids. I've been playing ever since I was a little guy.
How cool. So did you, what songs did you learn early on? Did you start writing songs, or did you, do covers like the rest of us for a while?
It was that, probably the first songs I ever learned were, old gospel tunes. And, just watching them guys and trying to switch between your G, C, and D and watching the gospel songs being played, just trying to keep up. But then it was like, it was Johnny B. Good, and then it was Black Sabbath and all that stuff.
Awesome. Cool. Well, I've got the studio wired for sound. Swing that mic over to you, and then we'll get going here. So what's this first song about that you're going to play?
This song, actually, nobody's heard this song before.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, I wrote this song just for this show.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Custom.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
So this song is called Tattoo. Okay,
let me see here. So you just wrote this?
Yeah. Some of it's personal. Some of it's most of the song is just people that have come in the shop and their reasons why they got this one or that one, and just how tattoos are important. I say that all the time. Tattoos are important, and every single one of these tattoos has been important to somebody that I've met.
Yeah, let me make sure I got your guitar in there. Go ahead and pick. There he is. All right, sir. Well, whenever you're ready, feel free to take it away.
All right. Make sure I can see all these babies here. All right, this is called Tattoo. I got this name wrapped around the heart that says Mama tried. Got this eagle from a time in my life when I was flying high. Got this anchor for time when I sank so low. Got this compass to remember how to get home. You can know the whole man by looking at his hands. You can be surprised when you look in someone's eyes. Yeah, a scar is just a mark, something someone got through. No, nothing tells you everything like a tattoo. Got this skull and flames to remind me of the times I've been through hell. This one here is faded out from a guy that learned in jail, to remind me of the angels always watching over me. The guy at the shop downtown took my back and gave me wings. You can know the whole man by looking at his hands. You can be surprised when you look in someone's eyes. And a scar is just a mark of something someone got through. No, nothing tells you everything like a tattoo. They show the world and you don't have to say a thing. The road you took and everything you love, and that you could take the pain. Got this set of bars and tally marks for the time I spent inside. Got this couple flowers 'cause they match my grandma's eyes. Yeah, and I beat my addiction, so I got these broken chains. I got this here cross for the one who's still saving me. Your scar is just a mark, something someone got through. No, nothing tells you everything like a tattoo. Lord, no, nothing tells you everything like a tattoo.
Gorgeous. Man of many talents. I love that. How long did that take you to write?
I worked on it a couple days. Took to refine it down a little bit.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
Every single one of them is something that somebody has got, or it was just the most important thing to them at the time, you know.
Sure. Did you? So you mentioned, did you do time in prison or jail ish?
My big long stint was about 2 weeks.
Okay. I mean, that's.
But I've been in there a couple different times. Yeah,
sure.
Different times.
Well, and that just kind of comes synonymous with that life.
It does.
It sounds like, yeah.
There's. I went to a meeting. One meeting. I've been to one meeting. And that was one of the first things they said when they was introducing you to it. This ends like that. That life ends two ways. They're dead or in jail.
Sure. Yeah.
Right, man. They're right.
Yeah. Well, and you mentioned, how long were you homeless? How does that, like, what are the logistics of that?
It's terrible.
Yeah.
It's terrible. At first, you know, you got a place, and then you you ruin the place. And then, then your friends are not so keen on letting you stay around. And then you're staying in the houses of ill repute, trap houses and stuff. This is terrible, but it's funny.
Well, what is a trap house for someone who doesn't know? Because I don't know. I hear that. Yeah. I don't know exactly what it is.
Yeah. It is. That's the hub, and this the one guy or the one girl, because I've stayed with both. That they're the ones that got the stuff or know how to get the stuff, and somehow they've got this house wherever this house is. And I've seen it where it's a functioning house. Or I've been in, I've stayed in one that was the trailer that's it's not up on blocks or anything. It's just kind of on the hillside, and it's when you're walking in it, it looks like everything's tilted because it is tilted.
Sure, yeah.
But the trap house is that term is really honest. I've heard plugs say, or the dealers say that I'll trap out of here. I can trap out. They're trapping you. That's what they're doing. They're trapping you into that life, and you can't get out of it. Or it takes God moving to get you out of it.
Yeah. How has God affected your life?
Delivered me clear up out of, I was going to die, man. I was going to die. And when you say that, and those words go out in the world, it's not someone's life. And I used to think like that. Like someone would say, oh, they almost died. It kind of rolls off of you. But when it's you saying you almost died, it was almost the end of life. And when my parents prayed for me, man, it was like something happened. It's empowering to know, to believe that, because I think it's important to say nobody knows, but to believe that you have power over addiction, that you have power over temptation, that you have power from the one who made the world. That's a strong backing, man.
Shoot, yeah, dude.
That's a strong backing. And if you think you got that on your side, there's not much you can't do in this world.
Yeah. Oh, I definitely can imagine that being very, very powerful in helping you do the right thing.
Yeah. Yeah. That was the thing. That was whenever that was an amazing thing. Like that night, whenever I made that call, we didn't talk about drugs. I never promised my mom and dad, I'll never do drugs again, all that stuff. It was just God took the place of all that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not a super religious guy. I got into that, but I think you can take that a little far too. And I probably did. But
people use it when people start rationalizing and using it for hate is when I'm like, well, that's not really what it's about.
You shouldn't be doing that. Yeah. Shouldn't be taking money off people. Shouldn't be organized with religions. I got a thing, but like, as far as like just saying God, and kind of, you got to try to follow the rules, you don't hurt people and all that stuff.
Sure, yeah. Well, rules of humanity, really.
That's all it is.
Yeah, man.
You got to be a good humanist to be a good, to serve God, I think. So
I love it. And it sounds like, it's hard to tell how many people you've helped just by talking to them in your tattoo chair.
Man, I hope at least one.
Oh, I'm sure. At least one. We're going to hit at least one with this episode too.
I hope so, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing with me. I mean, it's just an incredible story and experience on your end. And I think that people hearing that, there is a way out is just beneficial enough for someone to know that, like, yeah, I can do this.
Yeah. It's the easiest thing in the world, really. Just don't do something. And then eventually the rest will come.
Yeah. And I like your non-conventional path of like, you didn't really do AA. You kind of, you did, but you didn't. Your network of people who cared about you was kind of like your AA.
It was, yeah. I would tell people I didn't do rehab. And then I think that you give that a second thought. And I had people come into my life and it was like, because I don't ever want somebody who's in a sober living situation or who is in a detox situation to think that like somehow if they are going through that, then they're weak or something. Because I got that. It just was an unconventional way of getting it. So I went through all that stuff, and I had people that helped me do that.
Oh yeah. There's many ways to do this, and I'm a firm
That's right.
believer we can freaking do this.
Yeah, man.
Kelcey, we're gonna do it. We're gonna get everybody clean. Daggone it.
That's right, man.
Well, thank you, sir. What would you like to? Well, obviously, Wolf Song Inc. Studio. Where's it located? What would you like to plug so people can get a hold of you and get some beautiful artwork?
Yeah, look us up on Facebook, Wolf Song Inc. Studio of Tattoo. The website is good to go look at some pictures. The Facebook page is how to communicate with us the best. We're at 520 Main Street in Mount Hope. Mount Hope, West Virginia is a really cool little town, man. There's not much down there, but us, restaurant, a couple stores, and some really beautiful buildings. But come down and check it out.
Dude, the table's down there.
The table is down there.
That's all we need. That and tattoos. That's all we need.
Yeah.
The freaking brisket there. Oh my! I don't know how you're not 600 pounds.
Right. Yeah.
I'd just be down there every day. Well, thank you, sir. It's very inspiring to hear your story, and I appreciate you sharing. Beautiful voice, dude. Do you do shows?
Man, I would like to. I haven't so much. That's another one of them things, man. When in the height of addiction, I didn't do that too much, but I'm getting there. I got a little guy at home, so he needs me to be at home. My oldest son is me and him hang out a lot nowadays, so that's taking up a lot of weekend time. But if I got the opportunity, I'd put some material together.
You know Matt Mullins?
I've heard of him.
Okay, well, Matt, I know you're listening. Holler at my dude here. Let's get a show together. We're going to have a thing, which I haven't announced this anywhere yet, but it would be really cool if you would come play at it, and we're going to call it Creepalachia.
I love it.
And it's going to be in Bluefield in January. And it would be awesome if you come on and sing a couple songs.
Man, you tell me when I'll
That'd be
there.
awesome. Yeah, let's do it, man. Yeah, my buddy Matt Deal is helping me playing it. Matt Mullins is going to be there. Jonah Carden is going to be there. So we're going to have a lot of really cool people. We're going to screen the Mothman movie we just shot.
Awesome.
Yeah. So it's like, let's make it a whole thing. Call it Creepalachia. I was going in Sinister in Beckley, and this lady was in there, and she just looked at me and said, "Oh, Creepalachia," and she gave me a hug, and I was like, I'm going to use that one day. So here it is. Well, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
I appreciate you being here. Everyone else, if you haven't yet, be sure to like this video, subscribe to Creepalachia if you haven't. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify, take a minute, leave a review. That'll really help the show be found. And if you're listening on, let's see, we're on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and we do have merch now. Creepalachia.shop. And if you're suffering from addiction out there, you are not alone. Please do what we can to be accountable and healthy and move on from that dark world, and we're going to do it together. And last but not least, always remember, above all else, long live Appalachia.